All right, welcome everybody. How you doing? It's Thursday afternoon here in sunny Florida, a little chilly Florida today. It's my jacket. I don't know if Larry can relate, but it's been a little bit cold to say the least, which I feel like a jerk saying. If you're somewhere in the Northeast, like where I'm from originally, it's probably a little bit even, well, not a little bit, probably half as warm or 20 or 30 degrees cooler. But down here, my body over the past few years has gotten used to 70s, 80s, and 90s, and now it's like in the 50s and 40s, and I'm like starting to shiver a little bit. So and nonetheless, again, come on down and visit. We have a couple actually furnished rentals we're going to be putting on the market here for occupancy in the next couple weeks. So if you want to make a trip down, let me know about that. Shoot me a DM. I'll get the details. You get like a little bit of a priority before the whole world knows about them. So one's about 10 minutes from Siesta Key. The other one's about 25 minutes. So if you want to get to the beach and hang out and get a little bit more warm, if you're up there in the Northeast or somewhere that's cold, might be a good reason to get down to Florida and check it out, see what it's all about down here. Today, we're going to be talking about wholesaling, right? And we've had a couple of different conversations and trainings on this topic. So I'm actually going to have the team that has provided me, I think, the link to a presentation that I'm going to likely use for some portion of our conversation today. But before we jump into it, why don't you guys do me a favor and on Facebook, go ahead and put a comment of where you're from, city and state, if you feel like you could share that, and then also tell us kind of what brought you here, maybe some of your experience, if you have any with wholesaling or why you're interested in this topic. And then any questions you might have. I do have folks coming in. I know Larry's with us, and hopefully some other coaching clients of ours and Growth Collective members are going to come into the Zoom. Make sure we monitor the access there. But I know that a number of folks in our group, in our private group, our paid group, are actually making things happen from a wholesaling perspective. So all across the country, different people. I know we have one gentleman in Florida who's doing deals in multiple states. We've got people in the Northeast that are doing deals in the Northeast, and also like Pennsylvania, New Jersey. Thinking about there's probably somebody in California, I think, that's doing some stuff out there. There's also somebody in Illinois. So we have definitely experience and also newer investors in the group that are doing deals, wholesale flips, including us, of course. We're leading in that by example. But at the end of the day, today's going to be, I hope, more of a, I guess, conversation. I know we normally do trainings and presentations here, and I have definitely some slides. But I would like to challenge those of you that are hearing me live right now to contribute to this meeting, make it more of a workshop. And so really, that's the trajectory that we're going as a company. So if you didn't hear by now, if you didn't check out the last event that we did that was a little bit longer, called the Dealmaker Live, that was a couple weeks ago, and we have another one of those coming up actually here in a couple weeks, December 14th. Save the date. Hopefully you heard me say that or seen that somewhere by now. But go over to the dealmakerlive.com and get registered for free. There's also the opportunity for you to upgrade to VIP for a very nominal fee to have that extra hour and a half together, and also get some nice perks in addition to that for upgrading. So you'll see that on the webpage when you go there and what that's all about. You could decide to do that, or you could just totally just come as a general attendee, and that's totally fine for free. But that's going to be more of an immersive event like we had the last time we did it, which was last, couple few weeks ago, last month, this month, I guess. Crazy. It feels like it's already another month later, but it's only been a couple weeks. Been busy over here. And so, really the difference with that event, again, just quickly on that, just in case you're wondering, and you're like, why would I ever want to attend that? I have all these, weekly things that you guys are doing, and I have this other stuff I'm doing. It's not going to be just, me talking and sharing my screen. Just like today's going to be a little bit more interactive, I hope. Really, the Dealmaker Live is designed to be an interactive and immersive event, whereas you're going to have, about a 45 minute to an hour, conversation and training on how to identify deals, the 5-step system, which is basically identify, analyze, negotiate, contract, and close. We're going to talk about, how to identify and analyze in the first chunk of that meeting. Then what's going to happen is on December 14th, that event, which I just mentioned, the dealmakerlive.com, go there to get registered. You're going to have basically the next, 20 to 30 minutes to actually go out and do stuff to source deals and analyze deals and take the learnings you got from the first hour or so of the presentation and go put it into motion. And we're going to be there to support you and serve you and kind of come back after that and talk about it. And then from there, we're going to go into another 45 minutes to an hour or so training on negotiation and contracts, and essentially understanding how that works, making offers, negotiating terms, getting into contract, what all that looks like, some different levers to consider, some different things to say and do and not do and not say. And then ultimately we're going to come back and go, and from there, you're going to go and do some offer making, hopefully, or at least follow up on the deal analysis in the meeting, in the actual event, the Dealmaker Live. You're going to have that opportunity to do that. So we're going to guide you down the process, and we're going to get you results. I know last one we had, the teams are working on some editing, but we had one individual in this process say that they had, I want to say 60 connections in the matter of the 3-hour event that we did that they made that they had to follow up with the next day. So, I mean, how would you like to have 60 potential opportunities, but not just individual deals, but actually relationships? See, because like a big part of what you're going to hear about today is what I like to call relationship-based acquisitions. Relationship-based acquisitions when you're talking about wholesaling. So if you're interested in that, let me know. If that sounds like something you want to hear, write the word relationship somewhere. Relationship. If you don't know what that means yet, but you're curious to know what it all means, relationship is the key word to put in there. We're going to dive into how to build relationships with other individuals that are already sourcing deals and how to provide value to them in the way that we focus on as our company, and also others in our group are focusing on bringing value through relationships. I will say that, there's a number of things happening. I mean, right now, it's the end of the year. It's actually usually a slower season for most people in business, and the slower season in life is, wind down, reflect, plan, prep. I talk a lot about that, and we are doing that individually. I am, my wife and I, and also, the kids are getting ready to get ready for break again. They had like a week and a half off for Thanksgiving break, but at the end of the day, we're also in major preparation mode, which means we're kind of busy. So if you're looking to reach me, if someone's listening to this and you haven't heard back on something, maybe you DM me or you shot me a text. I apologize. I want to take responsibility for that. That it's not that I'm not looking to get back in touch. It's just that we've got our hands full at the moment. But if you're looking to participate with us in some capacity, right, there's multiple ways we could do that. So whether you have deals or you have the experience, or you have maybe capital, whatever you have, if you're looking to partner up and collaborate, then definitely hit me up. We're definitely looking for folks to work together in the new year and kind of take to the next level into the new year with us. We've got a lot of momentum on our wholesale side right now. I think the last time I checked, the team's evaluating almost 40 different deals. These are transactions that are going to be ready to go. So we're talking about going from, at the peak, to kind of give you guys a level set of like where we were, where we are, and where we're going. To date, we've done a little over 240 successful wholesale transactions, which we're going to talk about today. Some of those examples in the conversation, and obviously, if you have questions about those scenarios, as small as a couple $1,000s, as big as $140,000 on a wholesale flip for one particular transaction, right? And that was just last year that we had that 140K flip there. But as far as like, what we've done, that's great. And the thing is, before COVID, I would say we were averaging between 3 to 5 deals a month pretty consistently. Our biggest year was probably about 60 transactions. So that's about 5 a month on average. We had some months that were 6 or 7, some months that were 2 or 3. So that was before COVID. Then COVID happened, and like the whole world, things started slowing down, things started getting weird and confusing. And then we basically turned down the volume on the focus on the wholesale, because a lot of people, the demand pool, as in like the investors, which is something I want you all to think about. See, like, let me start with this way. If you don't know what wholesaling is, maybe I should start there, okay? Because there's going to be some people in this group. I know in our private community, you probably know by now more than enough, but I'll give you just a quick kind of 30-second explanation of what wholesaling is. So think of it like this. If you could find the deal and analyze a deal, a property owner has a property they need to sell and they're in distress of some kind, they need a quick solution. You found it before somebody else. You were the first one, or one of the first to get that opportunity. You were able to analyze it quickly and make an offer that was both good for you and also good for the seller, or good for the other wholesaler if there's another person involved. And if you're able to get a contract signed, then now you have an asset, which is the contract. The contract is the asset, right? So unlike when you go to buy real estate and close on the real estate and own that real estate to either keep it as a rental, or you're looking to fix and flip it, you're looking to put money into it and then flip the property, as far as renovating and then selling it. In this case, we're not doing that stuff. We're not actually taking the responsibility to close on the property, renovate the property, sell the property, or close on a property, occupy with a tenant, keep it as a rental, collect cash flow, et cetera. What we're talking about is actually almost the opposite of all that. We're saying we're kind of being a little lazy, all right? But it's a good kind of lazy. Like one of my mentors used to share, he's like, I like to be lazy when I work on my business, because what he was saying was that you could do less and still earn more per hour or per month without having to do all that extra work. And so another example I'll give is, like, I remember showing a couple of folks in my office in New Jersey when we had the office up there on a whiteboard. If you think about, well, maybe you can make $50,000 on average in a fix and flip, a single family fix and flip. Maybe you can make $50,000 at the end of the deal. The question is, how many months would it take for that particular project to be completed? I would say industry average, some people say 6 months, but actually being in the lending space, I know that it's more like 8 or 9 months in most cases that are average, right? So let's say it was 6 months though. Let's even give you the benefit of the doubt to keep the math easy. Let's say it took you 5 months. If it took you 5 months to get the 50K net, then what does that mean per month? Quick question. Who's listening? How much per month did you make essentially over the course of 5 months? It's really simple. 50 divided by 5, which is $10,000 per month, right? Well, let's think about it for a second. We risked our credit because we took a loan probably, or we got an investor, or we used all of our own money. Whichever one of those things is definitely risk. You're buying the property. That's risky, right, to begin with, because we don't know for sure until we get into it if it's going to be favorable. So that's something to consider. We're having to leverage, if we're going to go get a loan, our credit and potentially our experience and our reputation and things of that nature. So we're talking about riskier. Get a little choppy. So let me pause the video for a second here. Hold on one sec. My computer's having a hang up here. I don't know why. Close a window or two. Just give me a moment, guys. All right, I think it's better now. I'm going to close something here I have open in the back. Should be good. All right. Can you all hear me okay? Everybody on the Zoom, you all hear me okay? See me okay? I'm moving?
Yes.
We're moving smooth. Okay, cool.
Everything's perfect. Yeah.
So again, if I can make 50K in 5 months, that sounds amazing, because that's like, theoretically, if let's say the median income for the US, I don't know what it is lately, but let's say it's around 50K, you could do that in 6 months on one property. You could basically double that if you do it twice a year. You're making really good money theoretically, right? And it's practically speaking too. But the question is, can we be more efficient? And what are we doing? What risk are we taking to make that 50K in 5 months on a fix and flip? Well, we're taking a lot of risk because we're signing for a loan potentially. We're taking on investor money, or we're doing a combination of that, or we're using all of our own money, right? So if maybe that's you, maybe you're a fix and flip investor, I would love to know who's in the room with us that's done fix and flip. If you could just put the letters FF for fix and flip, FF or F, yeah, FF is fine. Just put two Fs in the comment so I know later on who I could talk with about fixing and flipping. Just put the letters FF. Now, on the flip side, let's say, no pun intended, but let's go to the buy and hold for a second. Buy and hold, let's say I do the same thing. I buy this property. It's got some equity in it. Let's say it's got that 50K, but instead of me selling it, I keep that 50K of equity. The question is, how much of that 50K in equity can I actually tap into if it's a rental property and if I'm collecting cash flow? The answer is very simple. I don't have much time to go with this, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to be very little, if any, that you could tap into that 50K of equity until you decide to sell the property, or if you could do what's called a cash out refinance, which just means a fancy way of saying taking out the equity through a refinance of a new loan. So that 50K is great. It's going to boost your net worth. But the question is, on a buy and hold, like we talked about last night in our coaching group, that's a different thing, which most of you know, some of those folks in the room here in Zoom. If you don't know about what that is, you go to jointhegrowthcollective.com. Again, jointhegrowthcollective.com has all the details. But basically, we talked about last night with a couple of folks like, hey, if I can have 50K of equity, we'll say, what is my return on equity? My return on equity. So let's say, if you're tracking notes here, which I highly recommend for today, especially because I'm going to give you a lot of information, a lot of things that you have to see, and I'll show you some stuff on my screen. If let's say that you have that 50K of equity, but let's say that you're profiting on a cash flow basis on a rental property, on this particular rent that we just bought, hypothetically speaking, right? That let's say you're making $5,000 a year. And it's not about the size of the numbers. Like you can make it 50,000, you can make it 500. Like that is, you could change those numbers, but let's just, for math purposes, let's say it's $5,000 a year of cash flow. Cash flow, let's be clear though, that's after you pay all your taxes, insurance, all that stuff, after you pay your debt service, you still have $5,000 of new money. If you take 5,000 divided by 12 months, you're just a little bit shy of what, 450, something like that, 480, I think. Per month, basically, or maybe my math is a little off. 400, I guess, is like 400 times 12 is 4,800. So $5,000 a year, right? $5,000 a year on $50,000 in equity would be like 10% what's called return on equity. Return on equity. So what that means is like that 50K is part of that is my equity. That's part of my net worth. But now I'm getting $5,000 of new money by keeping that equity there. Okay, so if I get that, now I'm getting a 10% return on equity. But the question is, if I compare that to the flip, how much equity did I have and how much profit did I generate? Well, it's kind of a trick question because I had 50K of equity and I profited 50K of equity. I profited net profit 50K in my example. Now going one step before that, what about wholesaling? Do I have any equity as a wholesaler? How much can I profit from the equity? What's my return on equity? Here's an interesting way of looking at this. It's essentially infinite because the equity doesn't necessarily exist except for what the deal was that you discounted. You negotiated a great deal. So the equity is the difference between the contracted price to what you can sell that contract for. So for example, let's say your average wholesale flip, probably in the US right now, I would guess is somewhere between $15,000 to $20,000 on average. So let's just say $20,000, right? It's like, would anybody want to make an extra 20 grand by just flipping a contract? The answer is, of course I would. Yeah. Okay. We all want that. So 20K net profit without me having to worry about what my return is, without me having to worry about the construction, without me having to worry about taking a loan, without me having to worry about raising the money, just making 20K. And how about we do that in like 2 to 3 weeks? If we can make 20K net in like 2 to 3 weeks, then how many of those can we do in a year? If we do that consistently, you can see where this can go. It's sizable, right? This can create more than the income you can create from doing a fix and flip, a buy and hold, anything like that. So actually, this is exactly why I decided, right? And I was made aware of this process as a signing contracts and double closes and things when I first got into real estate investing. So I had a little bit of an unfair advantage, if you want to call it that, where my mentor was focused just on that. That's my roots, right? That's like the roots of the business. And so contract flipping is really the core of what JDL Ventures does and has done. Now, over the years, I've gotten into, and we've gotten into other things like fixing and flipping and buying and holding and private lending. But I'm telling you, if you're a newer investor, if you're a newer person to this business, and you're looking for a quick win or an entry point to come into, then you got to consider the wholesale model, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to share my screen in a second here. I'm going to pop up the presentation. In the meantime, I want to see who we have in the room. I see we got Esther now in the room, Marlo and Wendy, and also Larry. So welcome, everybody. I'm going to kind of have you guys, if you want to say hello, I'm going to put you on gallery view for a second, kind of wave to everybody in the Facebook group so you can quick and say hello. And then I'm going to challenge you guys to do something you probably haven't done before. I'm going to have you go, those of you that are on a computer that are on Zoom, I want you to go into your Zoom thing. I want you to go to where it says participants, and I want you to right click on your name or go to the three little dots like Esther, for example. You're going to go, I'm going to do this for you actually, Esther. Tell me which, if you want, would you rather get contacted via phone or via email, Esther, if someone were to contact you? You're on mute right now. What's the best way to communicate with Esther?
I guess while I'm on the computer, email.
Okay, so what's your email, Esther?
It's Esther2457@gmail.com.
2457@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's Esther, ESTHER.
Gotcha. All right, so I just changed Esther's name. So now we're going to wait for thing to catch up here. But if you want to know a hack of what I use in Zoom, if you notice, mine says DouglasJBeck.com. It always says DouglasJBeck.com because that's the website for people to connect with me personally. Right. And soon we're going to have my digital business card on my website so that people can click on that, get my email, get my phone number, get all my links, see everything about me, add me to their phone, all that cool stuff. But the starting point might just be putting your phone number, right? Or putting your email address like I just did for Esther. And the way you do that, again, you go to the participants thing on your screen, wherever that looks like in Zoom. And it's for everybody. If you go into a Zoom meeting, quick little networking hack, I would say. And then you could use that to just showcase your content like Larry just did there. So he's got his phone number there. Larry, do you want people to text you, call you, or email you? What's preferred?
Best and fastest is always just blow up my cell at the 607-280-8573.
Right. Excellent. So same thing. So Marlo and Wendy and anyone else that comes into the room, if you guys want to add your information, feel free to do that. You don't have to, but again, that's a hack that I like. I think it will get you, if you're in another Zoom meeting somewhere else, you're going to be able to get connected to people just by them looking at your name on the list of people. And there's, oh, there he is, or there she is. You could also use the chat, but you don't want to be promotional in the chat. So just kind of very, indirectly promoting your contact is a nice way of doing that with the name on Zoom. So I hope you guys get some value from that. And Wendy, go ahead. Do you have a question?
Yeah, how do I do that again?
So I'll do it for you because it's only a few folks in the room. So tell me, do you prefer email or phone, Wendy?
Yeah, my email.
What's the email address?
bluetulipca@gmail.com.
Excellent. Okay. And now the other thing is, because you don't, it's okay if you can't be on video, but just another thing to know is if you're not on video, people won't be able to see that in any Zoom room and also in any presentation. So if you're not on video, unfortunately, they're not going to see that little thing on the bottom, but you can, when you get to a place you can. And the same thing for Marlo. She just took care of it. It looks like, so Marlo at, sorry, it's not showing the whole thing on my screen for some reason. Hold on.
It's not showing.
SerenityPropertySolutions.com. Excellent. Marlo at SerenityPropertySolutions.com. So these are just a handful of the folks in our private coaching group and community. So you guys are welcome to connect with them, learn about what they're doing. We got folks from, I know Florida, Larry's down here in Florida, Wendy's up in California, Marlo's in Montana. Esther, where are you based out of again? I forget. I apologize. You're out in
Jersey. New Jersey.
New Jersey. There you go. There you go. Good stuff. So we got a good coverage here across the country, across, the Northeast as well as Canada. And we've got other folks, like I said, in different parts of the country. So you guys can all get connected. On that note, and I'm going to share my screen. If you all want to connect inside the group, if you're like in the Facebook group, you're like, all right, I came here for the presentation. I'm ready for the thing, but I also want to connect with people and figure out how we can collaborate inside the real estate investing mastermind group. Here's the tip for that. And I shared this inside the chat that we have for the upcoming event, but you might not have heard that. So you want to go into the Facebook group. Okay, I'm going to show you guys this actually to start. Hopefully I don't break anything. Taking a risk here. That's what we do as entrepreneurs, right? We got to take some risk and get some reward. Hold on one sec. Let me get my screen share in here. Okay, so inside of the group, you're going to notice on the top, if you're in the group, it's going to look a little bit different than this, but you're going to see right here where it says the welcome to the real estate investing. If you click on this, it's going to show you really this first step. Step one, tell us where you're from, why you decided to join the group, and what you need the help with the most. Then add me as a friend, and then you'll notice these different things. We got some free training on how to close your first deal inside the vault. That's going to be moving around a little bit, but that's still there. But you notice there's 425 comments, and at least half of them are other people introducing themselves in the group. So if you want to find people to connect with, you just got to go through the comments and look here, say a few more comments. And if this thing loads, hopefully, Kelly Burris, Adriana, Marva. I mean, these are different people that are in the group. Some of them are working with us in the private group. Some of them are not. You may be in this room listening to me right now, seeing your name pop up. So, but notice that they put where they're from, what they do. Some people are putting different comments. That's okay. And then from Connecticut. So you could find people in the group. Another way to do this, everybody, because I want to give you some additional value today, is go to the members list. If you go to members, okay, inside of members right here, you could basically take this and you could just go through the list and say, who are my friends in this group? Is there anybody I'm connected to? I happen to have almost 1,500 friends in this group, which is pretty cool, right? That means we're connected already outside of the group. And then I might want to see who are people with things in common, right? So these are people that have things in common. Maybe they're an entrepreneur, a real estate investor, etc. What I'm showing you right now, by the way, is actually the backdrop for the wholesale model that we use the most. And we've got a little over 4,000 members, as you can see. So congrats to the team. Again, we just broke over the 4,000 mark. We want to make sure you guys are plugging in as well. So if I keep scrolling, I'm not sure how far. Okay, unavailable members near you. So these are people. There's, I guess, 8 people in the Sarasota. That's not that many. I'm surprised with that. That actually seems kind of low. But you can see there's people locally. So you can kind of tinker with this a little bit, and you can click on a person's name, like Joe. And I can see who is Joe. Well, Joe has been posting stuff in here. I can see different. I have certain views, but I want to say, do I want to message Joe? And if I do, I click on that button. It says message, and I say, hey, Joe, what's going on? I see you're part of the real estate investing mastermind group. That thing that guy Douglas J. Beck does, and I would love to connect with you because I'm here for the training, but I'm really here for the connections and the relationships. Remember, I said this business is about relationships. So build those relationships. Everybody that you need here, everyone, is already right in front of you. It's a question of finding them and having them find you. So just don't forget this. This is so, so important. But nonetheless, let me stop my screen share for a second. I'm going to go ahead and get the actual presentation on the screen. I think this is the right one. Let's hope. Okay. So let me share it again. Okay. Now I did a similar presentation, so I'm going to skip through some of these things. You might have already heard this one, but I'm going to do it live in another way today. All right. Team, if you could let me know, like, who do we have? If anyone's commenting inside of the Facebook group, it would be cool to know inside the Zoom room as well. So, whoops, is that the right? Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. So we're going to talk about the wholesaling concept here. Okay, let's go back. So this was the name of the presentation when I gave this presentation. I can't remember. It's been at least a month or two, I think. But discover the secrets to earning $20,000 to $50,000 or more per month in real estate wholesaling, even without credit, capital, experience, or a license. I mean, that's a pretty profound statement. And this is not like a marketing thing, right? This is like reality of like people doing this, as in our company, you guys, some of you are doing this already. If you're actually wholesaling right now, do me a favor and just say, I'm in it. I'm in it, like on a chat somewhere, wherever you, if you're already in it, like say I'm in this or I'm doing this, something that's letting us know you're doing this already. Okay. And so that will help us understand who's hearing this, who's seeing this, that's already doing this. And that way, if you want to connect with somebody who's already doing this, you don't just have me there. You also have other people in the community that you can connect with. Now, let's talk about this for a second, because just this slide alone, I could literally talk on this slide and explain things for the next 45 minutes because that's how important certain aspects of this are. All right. So let me kind of get the annotations and we're going to go into some detail. So 20K to 50K. Let me explain something real quick. I told you before, $20,000 is kind of like the, I would say, average right now when people are flipping contracts or signing contracts, and you could do much more than that. I just saw a post from somebody, I don't even know what state they were in, but they were holding up a check for $63,000. And I think it was their second deal. It was another group that I was in. And this gentleman is like brand new, right? Practically brand new. There are deals I've seen recently, 80K, 50K, 30K. Like these are deals that come up in our group and in our company quite frequently. In fact, right now we're working on one that will probably bring in about $40,000 net to us. We're working through the contract right now. That's a deal in Florida. We got other deals in the works, and we got, like I said, about 38, I think it was, to be precise, of deals in queue that we're kind of analyzing and figuring out which of those, maybe about 20 to 30% of those will actually bring to our network. We have a deal up in New Jersey in Toms River. We have a deal in Pennsylvania right now that's percolating, I think, in Newcastle, PA. We have something in Florida, like I said, a few deals in Florida in the Sarasota area, and we also have one in Central Florida. So like there's deals in our own that I know about right now. And if you don't know like what we have, the best thing to do would be to email sales@jdlventures.com. If you want to buy, right? If you want to buy a deal, then you want to email sales@jdlventures.com. If you want to bring us a deal that you don't know how to do the deal, but you want to bring this thing that you have, this opportunity, then send the information that you have, whatever you can share without, sharing too much or sharing too little. Share the details by sending an email to wholesale, the word wholesale @jdlventures.com. Wholesale, just like it says, wholesale with an E at the end. It's an ING @jdlventures.com. So we can help you do deals. And our clients in the Growth Collective are already doing this. We're talking with them on a private Slack channel almost every single day. People are bringing opportunities, bringing deals. We're analyzing with them. We're understanding where they're at. We're helping them. But 20K is like one deal, maybe two. 20K would be like one or two deals in a month. So if you know, in fact, that you can close one deal a month, I want you to say, I can. I want you to put in a chat, I can. Okay. If you think that you can close one deal a month with the right support, right guidance, right everything, that you can do at least one a month. You have literally 30, 31 days in a month. Is that feasible? Of course it is, right? You should be putting I can everywhere you hear this message. If you know that you're going to close one deal a month, then put I know. I know, because that's different than just I might or I could or I can. And if you know it, then you now have to make this a must. Make this a must. And I want you to put the words, I must close one deal a month. If you don't believe that you can close one deal a month, if you don't know that you can close one deal a month, and if you don't make it a must, then check it out. It's not going to happen. I can sit here till I'm blue in the face and tell you all about it, but you're not going to make it a must, then it's not going to probably happen. So what does the must part of this look like? Well, we have to set a target. So like in this case, we're talking about 20 to 50K per month in wholesaling, right? We have to get an understanding of what that even means. I said before, it's contract flipping. It's the 5 steps include identify, analyze, negotiate, contract, and close. So the first 4 steps of my framework and what we use in our business and what we coach on is universal across any kind of investor, whether you're fixing and flipping, buying and holding, wholesale flipping, okay? The first 4 steps are identify, analyze, negotiate, contract. The close is essentially different. We're going to close by the form of flipping this contract that we just got to somebody else, to an investor that wants to take over and step in our shoes and take on this project. We're going to flip it to them for no less, I would say no less than $10,000, no less, but ideally for 15, 20, 30, 50K, if the deal can support it. Well, what does that mean, Doug? If you have a deal that has enough opportunity in it, enough equity, enough opportunity, enough profit, enough cash flow, if it's a rental property, then why are we going to hold that back and not profit from that thing that we've been able to negotiate? We're going to obviously lean into that, meaning I'm going to say how much profit exists. If it's $50,000, then I'm going to take that $50,000 and say, how much of that $50,000 that the next person is going to get on the opportunity to have, do I want to earn now for doing all the work up until that last step as a real estate investor? How do I make sure that I get a fair portion, right? And inside of our private coaching group, I talk about specific metrics on what to do there. So that's one of the little nuggets I would say that if you're interested in knowing what that is, that's another good reason. We talk about how and why, how to negotiate that inside the Growth Collective. So again, join the growthcollective.com. We're going to talk about what that looks like here in a second with a couple of slides. But 20 to 50K. So there are people, there are investors, there are individual, like 1 or 2 people with some virtual assistants helping them, investors doing 10 times this in a month, 5 times this in a month, 2 times this in a month, like as in 100K plus. So I mean this, like, I want to know, like, what is a realistic target for you all in the next 12 months? What's a target that you want to get to for a monthly income? And don't undershoot yourself. I want you to kind of give a realistic, but maybe a stretch goal. Is it 50K? Is it 100K a month? Is it 200K a month? What's that number look like? Just tell me with the numbers and then the letter K. So is it 100K, 200K, 500K? Don't hold back. Like, you're not going to sound silly. There's people making tens of millions of dollars a year wholesale flipping across multiple markets. I was on a phone call with somebody the other day. He said he had 30 different markets that they do about 50 or 60 deals a month, and he has mostly virtual assistants running the entire business. We have personal connection with a strategic partner that has a lot of this automated in the dispositions part, which we're going to get into some of that today, to flip the deal to the right buyer in that market using automation and technology to do so. So like, these things are very much possible. I just told you we have about 40 deals in analysis right now. So if we think about this, what I'm showing you on the screen represents 1 to 2 deals. And then when you get to 50, it's like maybe a couple few. We're not talking about doing 60 deals a month or 50 deals a month at $1,000 a piece. We're not talking about owning rental property and making a few $100s a month per month passive. Yes, but is it worth it is the question. I'm not trying to change your thinking. Obviously, there's major benefits to owning real estate. There's depreciation, appreciation, and so on and so forth. But wholesaling, on the other hand, is the quick win. It's the high return on time, because I remember giving a presentation where I said it was one of my first deals, everybody. I'm going to come off a screen share for a second. One of my first deals I ever did, right? In like early 2015 or late 2014, I think it was. My presentation was how we earned $4,600 right now, brand new, practically working part-time in 3 hours worth of work. 3 hours worth of work at $4,600. If I do the math correct, is a little bit almost like $1,500 an hour, right? It's actually more than $1,500 an hour. So would that be something? I mean, I think that's called efficiency. So like, if I can show you a way today to be efficient and not just effective as a wholesaler, but actually be efficient and learn how to source deals, learn how to actually analyze deals, but then ultimately use systems and process, which we coach on, right? In the Growth Collective, jointhegrowthcollective.com has all that detail of how to do that. Then I'm pretty sure, who's interested? I think everybody would be interested. You guys should all be like, yeah, that sounds exciting, because it's going to be literally multiplying your hourly rate of income by like 10, 20, 50, 100 times. That's the goal we need to have. So I don't want you to limit yourselves, because then again, it's like, why are we going to strive for something that's what we want, that's like so small compared to what we know we can actually achieve? Like, we don't want to put that goal too low. We want to have a stretch goal, right? And the stretch goal is really not that far away, actually. It's right in front of you. So on that note, let's go back to screen share here. Let's see who we got in the comments first. Check some things. 50K a year, 500K a year. Excellent. Month 1, 25. Month 2, 50. Excellent. Hey, thank you, Candace. 100K a month, 50K a month, right? Inside the Zoom. I don't see. Annie says I can. Dan says I can. I must close 1 deal a month. Exactly. That's right. I must. I love it. Right? Regina Ruffin says 50K, but I was told I could do only 2 deals a month, not being a realtor. Well, that's an interesting topic. So we may not have the time today, but there's different. Wholesaling is not understood by every state the same way. The concept of wholesaling has also been, I would say, misconstrued, because people are talking about publicly advertising a contract on the MLS. Okay, today I'm not talking about that, and that's not something I'm ever going to suggest that you do. When you go on to the market and MLS, and there's different people that coach on these things. Again, it's not my focus. I'm not knocking what they're saying, because there are ways of doing things like novations and other types of structures, but we're not talking about those unique creative strategies. Like today, we're talking about the basics of assignment of contract or a double close. And like I've said to my group, and like I've told you guys probably in this group here, until the day comes that someone tells me I can't buy real estate, then until that day comes, I will be able to wholesale in the way that I understand the word wholesale. What do I mean? Well, if I can't assign the contract, if I'm limited to 1 or 2 per month, or whatever that situation is, or 1 per year, if you don't have your license, whatever those limitations are, then you have to just learn how to take title and flip the property after you already own the property. And I can help you with that. In fact, we can fund 100%. Yes, 100%. Our fund can fund 100% of the purchase price if you have a buyer ready to buy it from you for at least $20,000 more than what you have it under contract for, and you're willing to do what's called a double close. So I want to say it one more time. I could provide our fund, not me, myself, not my own money. It's our fund's money. Our debt fund called KPRE Capital Group can provide 100% of the capital to do what's called transactionally fund or transactionally lend on a wholesale flip, whereas you take title for a day or not even a whole day, and you simply sell that property to another investor the same day for 20K or more of a flip. And that deal I told you before, about $140,000 flip, that was an extended double close. It was 3 weeks, to be fair. We closed on the property, I think, in like late July. It was me and 2 other guys who happened to be my business partners, coincidentally, in the fund at this point, right? 2 of my business partners. And so we closed on that. And then we had a contract to buy it from us once we closed for $140,000 more than what we closed on it for. So, and that closed, that second transaction closed a few weeks later. And that funding was 100% of other people's money, as in a fund. At that time, it was a different group of people that funded the purchase for $510,000 that we then sold for $650 3 weeks later. But see, we didn't sell it really 3 weeks later. We sold it the same time on paper. We just didn't close yet. I want to make that very clear. We got it contracted as soon as we had a contract. That contract was conditioned on us taking title first. Once you take title, I'm agreeing to buy this property and we'll do a full-blown purchase and sale agreement. By the way, full disclaimer, every state has different laws. I'm not an attorney. I'm talking to my free group. Anything I've said today, anything I've said before, you have to check with counsel and people in your local markets. But if you become a client, I can get more hands-on about your specific scenario. So like, you can't take what anybody says, let alone me or somebody else, out of context or thinking that's like automatically going to be applicable in your specific situation. Like all that stuff has to be specific to you. And that's why we'd want to have a conversation. So again, look at jointhegrowthcollective.com and I can help you with that more specifically. But nonetheless, Regina and anyone else that has this concern, I'm telling you right now that that concern is typically related to not having a real estate license and publicly advertising to the public on the MLS a property that you don't yet own. See, like last time I checked, if I own a property, I could sell a property to the market. I don't have to like ask for permission to go sell it to, FSBO or MLS or have a realtor list it. Like I can sell a property that I own. If I own it, I can sell it. If I own it, I can keep it. If I own it, I can rent it. If I own it, I can do whatever I want to do. Is I own that thing. I have a deed. So we just have to figure out how to own it if that's the case. Now, most of the time, that's not actually the case. Most of the time, what we want to do, and we'll talk about this today a little bit as well, is build a private, keyword everybody, private network. That's not weird I say it like that. Private network, not a public distribution. Private network. What does this look like? Well, this looks like our private network is north of 10,000 opted-in contacts, emails, phones, and mostly cell phones that we can reach out to at any given time with any opportunity that we have to an individual one-to-one by using technology and a system to do that. So if you want that process, then tell me system somewhere. If you need a system, right, then let us know. We have resources to show you how to do that. We have trainings, we have guidance, we have a team to help you set up a system that continuously brings people into your sphere to create a network. And if you already have a network, that's great. But one of our biggest assets, one of our company's biggest assets is our network, right? And you're part of that. So thank you for that. You're part of the JDL network of investors. In this group and wherever you hear this video, inside the coaching group, inside of the free group, inside of a YouTube thing that goes on replay, whatever it is, you're part of our network. So the question is, when's the last time you thought about building your network and how are you intentionally building your network? Because if you don't have a network, what's that saying? Somebody help me out here. I know what it is, but I'm gonna see, who knows? Your network is your
net worth.
Net worth. So like if we don't have a network, we're not going to have our net worth go up necessarily. In fact, I can go into some detail, but I'm going to keep it kind of high level because we don't have that much time. Just in the past week and a half, because of a network that I've been able to create, there's been 2 transactions that I would not have had the opportunity to buy and profit from that have come in my hands in the past week and a half from 2 specific individuals that have nothing to do with the Growth Collective. These are just 2 other people in my life that have created opportunity and it's continuing to grow. Like, so one network, an individual in one network then goes to another network and so on and so forth. So the question is, what are we doing to be intentional about networking? And I'm going to tell you right now, today's topic is not networking, but a lot to do with wholesaling. The way we do it has to do with building a network. So I want you to write this down. I must build my network. I must build my network. I must grow my influence, right? John Maxwell says, leadership is nothing more than influence. Now, he says there's 20 other laws that he writes about, and he's a pastor, so of course it's biblical and it's principles that are given by God. But the fact is, he says the one law is the law of leadership. He literally says leadership is nothing more than influence. If you're able to influence, then you can lead, right? Christ had influence. He led the people. He led the people, his followers. He led people through massive situations. He was miraculous. He did so many things, but he was able to lead because people saw that he had influence. He created influence by being an awakening moment for people around him in that time. So it's like, how do we think about creating influence, right? Because if we're sitting in a little box somewhere, like I'm sitting in an office, a home office, you're sitting somewhere, you're in a box of some kind, you have probably walls around you, or maybe you're outside listening to this message, wherever you're at, if you just stay in that place and literally do nothing else besides stay there and say, why am I not making this work? Then that has a lot to do with the challenge we're facing. We need to step out of that box. So like tonight, for example, this evening, we have a mixer we're doing down in downtown Sarasota. So anybody who's local, I think Larry, hopefully we'll see you there. I think Candace's going to come down. We have a couple other people coming down. It's going to be downtown Sarasota, so we can network and meet people face to face that are in our local network down here, just like I do when I go to the RIA events, just like I do when I go to other networking events, to shake hands and talk to people and face to face interactions. Because honestly, I don't mind looking at a camera, but it gets kind of old sometimes. Honestly, you guys can understand what I mean. Like you're sitting in front of a computer talking to people and you don't hear anybody talking back unless you ask a question. It's a little bit weird. Okay. That's not my normal style. I'm kind of in that role because of what we've been able to do and what God's put in our life as far as the blessings to be able to influence others. But nonetheless, networking, I must grow my network. I must create influence. Okay. Let's go back to the presentation. If you guys are with me, just say I'm with you in a chat somewhere. I'm with you. Okay. If you're not, let me know. And like have my team just let me know who's lost right now, who's a little bit like, what is going on right now? What is this guy talking about? I love that, right? I've had those moments too. All right. So we talked about the numbers. We talked about the per month. And then the wholesaling, we kind of explained that in this sense, wholesaling is just flipping the contract, assigning the contract, double closing potentially if we had to take title. Notice it says without credit, without credit. So you don't have to tell me your credit score now or ever. You don't have to tell anybody your credit score if you just assign the contract. Nobody has to run your credit. You don't have to have 640 or 700 or 720 or 850. You don't need credit to flip a contract. You need focus, a network, and time. You need a computer and a phone, basically. And then you can just have a computer because a computer has a phone on it now with technology. Get a free Google Voice number if you need to. If you literally don't have a phone right now, God bless you. I want to help you. Go to Google Voice if you have hopefully a connection, if you're listening to this somewhere, but your phone's down because you don't, whatever reason, you don't have a smartphone, you know, whatever, that's cool. No big deal. Like we're going to get through this. Okay. If that's you, or you have to know somebody like this, but you could do this with just a computer, with a social media profile and a computer that has connection to the internet, and with the ability for you to have conversations over Messenger, because Facebook, if you didn't know, gives you a free phone. Check this out. It's going to blow your mind for a second here. Facebook gives you a free phone. Thank you. I hope that helps me with Facebook engagement. Like, thank you, Facebook. We love you. You're amazing. Facebook is awesome. Like, we're just messing with you guys. It is, but I need to get the engagement. Sometimes I feel like I don't get prioritized because Facebook doesn't like some things I talk about. So I'm going to try to get Facebook to like me a little bit more today. But seriously, in the Messenger, okay, if you don't know how Facebook Messenger works, you probably do because we probably had a conversation at some point where you had somebody from my team reach out to you or whatever. Facebook Messenger has a very unique little button. It's not hard to do though. Okay, so on your phone, let's see if I can show you guys this. I'm going to add a message. I'm going to say, let me find out who I should reach out to. Let's say Joe. So let me stop sharing for a second. Now, Candace, you said you did something like this recently and you couldn't see the screen. See that little blue microphone right there? Click that blue microphone. I'm going to hold it. And I'm going to go like this. I'm going to push up. And now I'm sending an audio message, which is basically recording to Candace. And she's not hearing it yet, but she's going to hear that. Or this is Joe, actually. Sorry. I said Candace. I saw her on the screen. So this is sending a message to Joe. Joe's going to get this message like, what are you talking about, man? He's like, I know you're in your meeting probably talking. That's exactly right. So use the phone built into Facebook. You don't need to have a cell phone service even to have a phone. All you need is an internet connection and that little button that has the little microphone. I can keep on recording on my phone for basically as long as I want. On the computer, it's 1 minute. Okay, these are little tips you may not know. This is related to real estate wholesaling. I'm going to hit send. It's sent now. See that? Now watch. I go like this and I'll push up. And now I'm sending an audio message, which is basically recording to Candace. If I turn my phone actual service off, but I keep the data on, I could do that all day, every day, as many times as I want. Wendy, I see your hand up. Is it about that or something else? Just
Yeah.
if you don't mind. Okay, good.
No, you can even, at the top, there's a little telephone icon
Oh,
and
there's a phone button too. You can literally call too. You're right.
you can call over it and you can put it on so you can actually see the person you're talking to.
You can do a video call. Exactly.
That's
I
it.
mean,
Thank you. Yeah.
that's great. No, that's a good point. So like, see, I'm not saying this in a negative way. I hope you guys here understand. Like, I don't want to have to see if someone's available to talk randomly. Cause a lot of times, back in the day, like we had phones on the wall, right? And we had phones with wires connected. And then we got cordless phones. You all remember that if you've been through that. I'm sure most of you have. And then we finally got a cell phone, a flip phone, and all that. But then you call people, and it's like in the beginning, when we weren't so connected, people were excited to get phone calls. Like, oh, they're calling, better answer the phone. Like, I got to answer it, because they don't really call me that much. And they got limited minutes, and you pay per the minute after that. Or if you remember like the days of calling collect, like you had to do long distance and stuff like that, like all these different weird things. But now we're so connected that people don't want to talk on the phone. It's weird. Like, at least I don't know if it's everybody, but I don't mind talking on the phone. But it's like when I call, I would say if I called everybody here out of the blue randomly in the middle of the day, less than 10% of people will pick up the phone, even if they have my phone number. But you know what's interesting? If I drop a voice message, like 95% of you will hear it at some point in the next couple of hours. Why am I going to call when I could just send a voice message? Why am I going to call when I could give you an appointment link like you guys need to be thinking about? Get a Calendly link. Okay, we're setting the stage, the backdrop here of how to properly wholesale. You'll get what I'm talking about in a second. So I want you all to write down, another must for you, I must use Facebook intelligently and effectively with the features they give me, however you want to write that down. I must use Facebook not to just consume, but actually connect and produce. I must use social media if you want to put Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, right? Connections are happening all across the world through these different platforms. So where am I going with this? Remember I said relationship-based acquisitions. Let me go back to my screen share. Okay. No credit. Okay. No capital. Well, wait a second. That's kind of what an asterisk, because the capital part of this has to do with the people who have the capital, i.e. the investors who want to buy the deal that I'm able to connect to and get under contract and be able to sell them the rights to. Say that one more time. The capital comes from the investor who wants to buy the deal that I have the access to buy because I got a contract on that deal. I can sell that contract and let them use their capital, their credit, their whatever to proceed to buy. But check it out. I get paid for everything else I did up front. I found the deal. I analyzed the deal. I negotiated the contract. I got it under contract. And now I'm going to sell that deal. I sell the contract for a fee. Told you before, 10K minimum, upwards of 100K plus per deal. If you're doing millions of dollars, if you're doing, there's somebody I know, one of our partnership, strategic partners, had done a deal that was like $300,000 something on one flip because it was a commercial asset, right? If you want to know what that looks like, then let me know. You want to do big deals, then put the word big deals somewhere and we'll get you connected. Big deals. If you want to do commercial real estate wholesaling, then put the words big deals and we'll get you connected. All right, Wendy, I see your hand there. I didn't keep on rolling, but if that's you, then we'll get connected to, I think you know who that is, but we're going to talk about that some more. Experience, only because I'm running out of time here. Experience, you don't have to have experience, but you have to know what to do. You have to know what to do. So the what to do, again, is 5 steps: identify, analyze, negotiate, contract, and close. We talk about the first 4. It's kind of weird to do that with your hand. You can't really see it. My pinky's down. It kind of feels funny, but that's okay. The first 4: identify, lead generation, analyze, deal analysis, identify. I'm going to give you guys a resource. Many of you heard me say this. It's going to become like redundant and repetitive. Like, man, I've heard this so many times. But if you want to find deals, there are 2 things you need to be doing on a consistent basis. Number one is connect with people that are already doing deals in your market that you're looking to do deals in. Where do I go to connect with them, Doug? Hey, why don't you guys do me a favor? Those Growth Collective members that know what I'm talking about, anybody who's in the Zoom room, where do we need to find these people? Do you know? Do you remember? Shout it out. I just said it has a phone on it. What has a phone on it, everybody? We just heard about that. What's the social media platform? Come on now. Facebook. I got to go into Facebook groups. Okay, I'm going to show you guys something real quick. Again, I'm going to go, let's see if I can find a, by the way, if you want the actual slides, then just say slides. If you want these actual slides, I'm not going to go through the slides. I want to show the screen, but if you want the slides, then hit me up with the word slides and I'll get you the slides because there's a lot more of this detail behind this. That's just I want to give you a taste of what's behind this. Okay. So I'm going to show you here. If I get my screen set up correctly, I'm going to find, and I'm going to bring it over the screen as I do this. And I don't know what's in these groups. Like I can't tell you for sure, like what's being promoted, what it's all about, but I can tell you that there is stuff being promoted. So this is one group, for example, right? So I might be giving away opportunity, but that's what this is about, giving value. If you guys are cool with that, put the word value somewhere. If you're getting value from this, put the word value somewhere, okay? Florida off-market real estate deals. You go into Facebook, you literally type in Florida off-market real estate. I click on that. I can just see all the groups that are there. Let's see. This is the groups. This is Florida off-market real estate. Home value for free. I don't know what that is, but Pennsylvania off-market, Florida off-market real estate deals. I could go to the one that I said because I'm already part of this. I go to the group. There's 6 units in Miami. Jane has a deal. I don't know who Jane is. Price 1.025 mil, cash or hard money, net operating income 89 per year. You might not know what these things mean. Again, join the growthcollector.com. We're going to train you and coach you on this exact process. DM me for pics, videos, and further. Hey, check this out. I love this. Jane, if you hear this message, God bless you. I appreciate putting this out there. Check it out. I'm not a wholesaler. You're not a wholesaler, everybody. Listen to me right now. That's the thing. See? Hold on a minute. This is getting me a little fired up now. Don't identify yourselves as wholesalers when talking with other wholesalers, because check it out. Wholesalers, right? Most people think of wholesaling as flipping the deal to an investor. Check this out. This is the words I want you to consider. I work alongside a group of investors. I have a private network of investors, assuming that you do, which again, if you don't, we can work on this. I have a private network of investors. I'd love to have the opportunity to bring your deal to my handful of private network of investors and see if we can make a deal happen where everybody makes money. I'd love to bring your opportunity in front of my handful of private investors that I'm talking with on an almost daily basis because I've built relationships with them and I know exactly what they want. If I can get the opportunity to bring it to them, would you give me the opportunity to make money together with you? Could we split the profit on the flip, the wholesale flip? I'm not looking to take your deal. I'm not, and you're not, looking to take their deal and blast it across the internet. That is not wholesaling. That's not proper. That's bad marketing. That's not the right kind of lazy marketing. Okay. Put it on Craigslist, put it on the MLS illegally. I'm saying it there right now. Like people do this and it's not good. Don't put deals on the MLS that you don't have the rights to do that for. You cannot do that. You can get big trouble with the real estate commission, with the other regulatory authorities. Don't do things like that when in fact, all you need to do, check this out. Watch this. Ready? Share screen. We're building off what we cover this in detail in the Dealmaker Live as well. Just so you guys know, if you want to have a reason to join the Dealmaker Live in a couple weeks here, thedealmakerlive.com, we go into this, we actually do this together. So in the same group, I'm going to go to search. Let's see if anybody comes up for buying. Who is buying in Ocala? All right. I don't know. I know kind of where Ocala's at. I don't really know much about it. I don't know about this house. Zaylin. Send it to Zaylin at Husseini Capital. Okay. We got Cody. Send it to me. David. I mean, I'm just giving you names now. What it takes. These are buyers buying Ocala. So you want to build a buyer's list? You could do it with Facebook. The same exact group that has the deals. In fact, if I find a deal in Ocala and I find a buyer on another person's post in the comments and I connect both the comments people to the deal that I just found with the right paperwork, have we done this before? Yes, we have. In fact, the guy I told you before that did the multiple 6-figure deal literally does this consistently and has a system to do this to connect to the right people using similar methodologies. So like, we don't need to reinvent the wheel here. See, the new age of wholesaling is not going and doing all this massive marketing to go off market for every single time. You could do that. You could produce a lot of deal flow that way, but there's also a lot of money flow out, a lot of cash flow out. I can go and market to people that are potentially cash buyers because I have the data available by just going to a thing like Nationwide Seller Leads, which has both seller leads. NationwideSellerLeads.com has property owners and also people that are cash buyers, which are property owners. And I can do skip tracing, all kinds of stuff. But why waste the time and money to do that when you're sitting right in front of it on your phone? My phone has all the people, not in my contact list, not in my Rolodex, not in whatever you call that thing, your CRM, but actually on the fly. Look at this. August 16th. That was not that long ago. That was 3 months ago. Do you think that these people are still buying real estate? If they actually are, they probably are. Now, there's a whole process to vet them to see if they're actually buying. Now, I happen to not be friends with this person. Let's just click on their name. I don't know who they are. Again, if it's somebody in the room, you hear this, God bless. It's not on purpose. Ruben Kurilov. Okay, this person has a social media profile that says, who buys flips in St. Pete Beach? I think there might be at least one person in the room right now that lives in that vicinity. Maybe they should get contact with this person. It's kind of funny, like literally just going through and clicking stuff, you start seeing connections that were not otherwise made. Now, I could go down a rabbit hole with this. I can keep going next level down. And sometimes I find out that the person who says that they're buying is actually the one trying to flip the deal to somebody else. And that's not what I want. I want a direct cash buyer. So there's a whole process to vet who is the cash buyer, who is the person borrowing private money to do their deals, et cetera, et cetera. That's not what we're talking about today. I will cover that with you in our private coaching group again. But the fact is, I can click on these names and say, okay, well, Wizza, I don't know who the person is. I'm gonna click on their name. My friend Heidi, I don't know. Like I could keep going on. You see where I'm going with this, though. You keep exploring. It's all within your fingertips. Now, sometimes people are like announcing that they just bought something. So let's see. What's a good it's a good keyword. What do you guys think is a good keyword to find a buyer? Who sees the concept here? Who thinks there's a keyword that I could put in a search that's going to help me find people that are actually buying deals? How about the word cash? Looking for cash buyers. This guy is saying he's got a dispensary or she is looking to sell or something. Okay. Now, Juan, Ryan, like there's literally 56 comments. There could be half of those as responses or whatever, but these people are leads. All the people you need are right in front of you. Okay. I can't make this clear enough. And the thing that frustrates me the most is that I don't have more time to go through these steps. I have even VAs going on this and doing this every single day, but it's still not enough. But that's where you come in. See, like if you guys take the action and go put this into motion and you get to a place where you get stuck, you know what you could do? Go to jointhegrowthcutter.com and bring the deals to our group after you enroll as a member with us. Okay. And we have people waiting to buy, people waiting to bring deals to you. Like there's some people that have literally paid to be part of that group just to get the access to the deal flow that we have and that the group has. There's people that have done their first deal. There's people that do their next deal. And some of you are seeing this and part of this now. So I'm just making it very clear that this is not that complicated. It's a very simple process. It's a very effective process. It does take time. It does take effort. Does anybody have any questions in the group, in the Facebook group, or inside of the Zoom meeting?
No, I don't.
Okay. Come on, Esther, you got this. I know we're gonna have another. Hopefully, you can hang out for a little bit here. We got our next meeting coming right after this. So I see Jose joined us as well. So welcome, Jose. Jose is one of our newest members in the Growth Culture community as well. So congratulations on that. And congrats to everybody else who's joined us recently. Listen, on that note, go ahead. Is that Jose? Somebody else? Wendy?
I have a
Wendy.
question. Don't you need capital to secure the property in the first place? Like when you have to give your deposit and
Great question. So yes, with an asterisk. So there's now this concept of what's called gator lending. People will call it. One of the groups out there, shout out to Pace Morby and those guys doing creative finance. There's a whole process and a whole group of people doing gator lending, which effectively is earnest money deposit lending, private lending specifically for earnest money deposits, where you can get, let's say, $5,000 for a specific deal, pay someone back $5,500 or $6,000 once the deal closes with some paperwork. And now you just made $15,000 or $20,000 and give them $1,000 or $500. They're happy, you're happy, everyone's winning. Stuff like that. We can help with that in certain cases, right? If it's a deal that we can do that with, then we'll let you know. It's got to be in a market that we actually operate in, that we'd be comfortable putting financial commitment towards. But the answer is yes, somebody has to bring a deposit. So maybe, right? Now, maybe is because if I do a joint venture, if I actually, let's say Wendy has a deal and Wendy's already put up the deposit because Wendy's got a contract with the seller and she's already put the deposit into escrow. I don't need to put a deposit if I'm just going to operate in the dispositions function as her partner on that deal. Very important how I said that. Her partner on that one deal. I'm in a joint venture with Wendy. She's already taken the time and the money to get that deal under contract. I'm going to step in when she's got the contract and bring my value if I have a network of investors. Say it again, a network of investors. If I have that, I can lock arms with Wendy on that one deal, put a joint venture agreement in place, and now take that deal and the deals that she brings besides those with the proper terms and conditions of everything negotiated with Wendy and her company and bring that to my private, very important again, private network of investors. Vetted private network in our case, people that have gone through a process to be given the first opportunity, as in we see a proof of funds, right? This is stuff we get into. We're going to switch to the other group in a second here. If anybody wants to continue the conversation, if you're hearing this live and you're like, I need more of this, I need to get into the details and I'm ready to do this today, join the growthweather.com. You can go on that site. You can literally click on, I'm in, I'm ready to go. And you can join our community on the spot and join us in the next meeting. The team will see your enrollment and we'll get you enrolled. If not now, then when is the question? If it's for you, then let's make it happen. If it's not, no sweat. You can come here every week, everybody. But I'm going to say thank you to the Real Estate Investing Mastermind group. I'm going to say hello again to the TGC community group. And I'm going to kind of switch us over to that group. So on that note, let's take a quick break for like a minute or two, get yourselves situated, the rest of the community here. And I'll see you guys next week. I think next week we'll see you. Yeah. And then I'll see some of you tonight. And I'll hopefully see as many of you for the Dealmaker Live. If nothing more, we'll see you on the 14th for the dealmakerlive.com. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Talk to you soon. God bless.